Picture this. Your friend just made $5,000 while sitting on their couch, scrolling TikTok. Another friend lost $2,000 the same day. Both were doing the exact same thing, owning stocks. Sound confusing? Kind of unfair? Maybe a little exciting? You're not alone. Millions of people are jumping into the stock market without really understanding what they're actually buying. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on stocks, what they really are, how they actually work, and why your one share of Apple doesn't mean Tim Cook is returning your calls anytime soon. By the end of this 10-minute video, you'll understand stocks better than 90% of people who already own them. Let's dive in. So, what exactly is a stock? Simply put, a stock represents ownership in a company. When you buy a stock, you literally own a tiny piece of that business. Pretty cool, right? Think of it this way. Imagine your favorite company is like a massive chocolate cake cut into thousands or even millions of slices. Each slice is what we call a share. When you buy a share, you're basically saying, I'll take that slice of the company, please. Here's a simple example. If a popular streaming service was divided into just 10 shares total, and you own 5 of those shares, you'd actually own half of that entire company. Now, in reality, big companies like Netflix or Apple have millions, sometimes billions, of shares, so you'd likely own a much, much smaller percentage. But the concept is exactly the same. Own the share, own the slice. You might be wondering, why would a company want to sell pieces of itself to random people like me? Excellent question, and the answer is pretty straightforward. Money. Creating and growing a business is expensive, really expensive. Companies need cash to build new factories, develop innovative products, expand to different countries, hire talented people, or even just keep the lights on during tough times. Now they have options. They could borrow money from a bank, but that comes with a catch. They'd have to pay it all back, plus interest. That can be a heavy burden. Or they can sell shares of their company. The brilliant part? The money they get from selling these shares doesn't need to be paid back. Ever. It's theirs to keep and use to grow the business. Let me illustrate this with a story that makes it crystal clear. Meet Maya. She's passionate about sneakers and dreams of opening Fresh Kicks, a store selling limited edition sneakers. After crunching the numbers, she realizes she needs $100,000 to get started. Rent, inventory, marketing, the whole 9 yards. Problem is, she's only managed to save $50,000. Instead of taking out a risky loan, Maya gets creative. She decides to divide her business into 10 equal shares. Since she's putting in $50,000 of her own money, she keeps 5 shares for herself. That's 50% ownership. Each share is worth $10,000. She then sells the other 5 shares to people who believe in her vision. Enter Jordan, a major sneaker enthusiast. He hears about Maya's business plan and thinks this could absolutely revolutionize the local sneaker scene. He buys 1 share for $10,000, which means he now owns 10% of Fresh Kicks. With investments from Jordan and 4 other believers, Maya now has her full $100,000 and opens her dream store. Fast forward 5 years. Fresh Kicks is crushing it. Maya has opened 3 more locations, partnered with major brands, and built a loyal customer base. The business that was once worth $100,000 is now valued at $300,000. Remember Jordan, who invested $10,000 for that 1 share. His 10% ownership is now worth $30,000. If he decides to sell his share, he'd walk away with a $20,000 profit. Not bad for believing in someone's dream, right? But here's the reality check. Investing isn't always a success story. What if Fresh Kicks struggled to compete with massive online retailers? What if a recession hit and people stopped buying expensive sneakers? If the business value dropped to $80,000, Jordan's share would then only be worth $8,000. That means he'd have lost $2,000 of his original investment. Ouch! This is exactly how stocks work in the real world, just on a much, much larger scale. Here's another cool perk some companies offer: dividends. Some companies share their profits directly with shareholders. It's like getting a slice of the company's earnings just for being an owner. If Fresh Kicks became super profitable and decided to distribute some of that profit, Jordan might receive a dividend payment, maybe $500 or $1,000, just for holding his share. Free money for being a part owner. Pretty sweet deal. So where do people actually go shopping for these company slices? They head to what's called a stock exchange. Think of a stock exchange like a massive marketplace, but instead of buying vegetables or clothes, people buy and sell shares of companies. The most famous stock exchanges are the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, and NASDAQ. These days, you don't need to physically go anywhere. You can buy stocks right from your phone through investing apps like Robinhood, Fidelity, or E-Trade. When a company gets big enough, like if Fresh Kicks expanded into a national chain with hundreds of stores, it might go public by listing its shares on a stock exchange. This process is called an IPO, or initial public offering. Once public, anyone can easily buy and sell shares of the company. Now, here's something important. Not all stocks are created equal. When companies issue stocks, they typically come in two main flavors: common stock and preferred stock. Think of them like regular tickets and VIP tickets to the same concert. Common stock. This is what most people own when they invest. When you own common stock, you get voting rights. That means you can actually vote on important company decisions and help elect the board of directors. Got one share? That's one vote. Got 1,000 shares? That's 1,000 votes. You might receive dividends, but these aren't guaranteed. If the company has a rough year, they might skip dividend payments entirely. The big advantage? Common stocks typically have the highest potential for growth. If the company does really well over time, your shares could absolutely skyrocket in value. The downside? Higher risk. If the company goes bankrupt, common stockholders are literally last in line to get paid after all the debts are settled. Sometimes that means getting nothing at all. Preferred stock. Preferred stock is like the responsible older sibling of common stock. Preferred stockholders usually don't get to vote on company matters. You're giving up that influence in exchange for other benefits. The big perk? More reliable dividends. Preferred stockholders get their dividend payments before common stockholders, and these dividends are usually fixed and predictable. If you're looking for steady income, this is attractive. If the company goes bankrupt, preferred stockholders stand in line ahead of common stockholders to get their money back, though still behind the people the company owes debts to. Think of preferred stock as a middle ground between stocks and bonds, less risky than common stock, but typically with less explosive growth potential too. So which is better? It honestly depends on what you're looking for. If you want maximum growth potential and don't mind the risk, common stocks might be your jam. If you want more reliable income and less drama, preferred stocks might be more your style. Why would anyone want to put their hard-earned money into stocks when they could just keep it safe in a bank account? Simple, potential growth. While a savings account might give you 1 to 2% interest annually, barely keeping up with inflation, stocks have historically returned around 7 to 10% per year on average over the long term. That's a huge difference when you're trying to build wealth. Of course, that higher return comes with more risk. The stock market can be a wild roller coaster ride. Prices go up, prices go down, sometimes dramatically. Some people invest in stocks for the long term, buying shares in solid companies and holding them for years or even decades, letting their investment grow. Others try to make quicker profits by actively trading, buying and selling stocks more frequently based on price changes. Both strategies can work, but they require different mindsets and skills. So there you have it, stocks in a nutshell. Remember, when you buy a stock, you're not just buying some random thing that goes up and down in price like a cryptocurrency meme. You're buying actual ownership in a real business with real products, real employees, and real customers. If you're thinking about investing, here's my advice. Start with companies you understand and believe in. If you love a company's products and think they'll still be around and thriving in 10 years, that's a good sign. And whatever you do, don't put all your money in one stock. That's like putting all your eggs in one basket. If you drop it, you're having scrambled eggs whether you wanted them or not. Diversification is your friend. Spread your investments across different companies and industries to reduce your risk. The stock market isn't gambling, it's ownership. And with the right knowledge and patience, it can be one of the most powerful tools for building long-term wealth. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more videos where I break down complicated financial concepts into simple, straightforward terms. Drop a comment below letting me know what financial topic you want me to explain next. Should we tackle cryptocurrency, bonds, how credit scores actually work? Let me know. Until next time, happy investing, and remember, you're not just buying stocks, you're buying your financial future.